Expansion and realignment financial guru. That's what I've dubbed him. Jeff Fuller on Locked On Big 12 here. Jeff, the ACC without Florida State and Clemson. From a financial standpoint, does it make sense for ESPN to still be involved in 2027 the way they're involved today?
Boy, you hit the nail on the head. You set me up with the question, can the ACC survive without those two programs, the Seminoles and the Clemson Tigers? You got to ask ESPN. They know the numbers. They know if it's viable. They know if they're going to keep paying at that rate. I think ESPN's probably not super happy with the ACC. I mean, the ACC exercised the pro rata clause to get full value payments for Cal, for Stanford, for SMU. Those schools have agreed to take a smaller share, and that was sort of the carrot to the other ACC schools to let them in. Obviously the three schools that voted against it were Florida State, Clemson, and North Carolina. There's possibly your answer. Can they survive without Florida State and Clemson? If UNC sticks it out and tries to rally the troops, and ESPN is willing to make it work for them, they may say, hey, we'll keep paying you, but obviously it's going to be a lower payment. You look at the viewership numbers, you look at who goes to games, football just rules the roost financially, and you're losing two major national brands, that by far the two biggest football brands in the ACC. If those two are gone, I have a hard time seeing that they would keep up even with the Big 12 as far as financial payouts and media contracts.
Jeff, as far as your research with EADA numbers in cumulative last 20 years, North Carolina and Clemson both sit outside of the top 30. Clemson at 32, North Carolina at 33, compared to other schools nationally in that revenue, that word revenue. Why are we making them out to be such juggernauts in that conference when the numbers don't put them in the top 25 even?
So, I mean, those are long-term numbers, 20 years. What was Clemson 20 years ago? It wasn't, a multiple-time national champion. They weren't selling out their 80,000 plus. I think it's 86,000 seat stadium.
83, I think, something like that.
83? Yeah. Okay, somewhere in there. So Clemson, and if you look at conference distributions, ACC is going to be way behind, the Big Ten and the SEC. Even the Pac-12 and the Big 12 were getting bigger and better payouts from their conference distributions, from the media packages for years. The ACC has been, has lagged behind. You can look at some of those conference payouts, and the ACC, has been a little behind there. So you stack that up year after year. You're $5 million behind for 10 years in a row, and that's a $50 million difference. And so, you drop down from in the top 25 down to, maybe in the 30s or such. So I wouldn't worry about a 20-year number being truly indicative of your current value to the media partners, to a conference. There's so many other factors. But, you mentioned Kansas. Yeah, Kansas is strong on those numbers. They definitely run a tight financial ship. They make a lot of money in basketball, making some in football now. So it'll be interesting to see what happens to the Jayhawks in this process. So the way that I like in Clemson, Jeff, and I'm glad you brought up the fact that 20-year cumulative doesn't tell the 10-year story that's been so prevalent for making Clemson the power they are in the ACC. The reference that I give is 10 years ago, 12 years ago, they were behind in revenue numbers compared to Bowling Green, right? The Clemson football program was just not very profitable until Dabo Swinney started winning. Does that mean that the ACC can lean on someone else becoming a Clemson? I mean, what if we woke up tomorrow and North Carolina State rattles off 2 national championships and 4 college football playoff appearances? Has Clemson proved that any university can do it? Clemson's in South Carolina, which is college football country. They've, they had a stronger tradition to go back to. They care about football. They've shown that it's their top dog, and that's their baby. Yeah, I mean, you get the right coach and
Danny
you get the
Ford,
right recruits.
national championship, Danny Ford, the 90s, I think.
Going way back there.
Really taking me back, yeah.
Definitely before Tuberville and all the crew there. So, yeah, I mean, there used to be a term of, Clemsoning, where, teams would just fall on their face when they were about to, make it, about to win the game, about to break through, and they Clemson that game. They just fall on their faces on the big stage. Yeah. And, Dabo Sweeney has removed that term from the lexicon, so to say, just with, proving it on the field, getting the recruits. So yeah, can it be done? It can. It's hard to see NC State. It's hard to see, Arizona State. It's hard to see Duke, other places sort of committing to that and to becoming that. But I guess it's possible.
I would, for the Big 12's sake, and I know that a lot of ACC fans hope that it's possible that somebody, and I brought up Kansas State before, who across history, and it sounds dumb to say, but you take out the Snyder era, and what is Kansas State football? Now, obviously, it's omitting 30 years of football, right? So you leave it in there. But even with that, the whole, as we look across the timeline of K-State football, is not spectacular. However, the modern era has shown they can win. And to me, they could be the next Clemson of the Big 12. The Big 12 needs to look to a program like Kansas State or even Kansas now as financially sound as they look to become the juggernaut that wins at the very high level. And with that being said, if Kansas State goes on a 2-3 year national championship vying run, college football playoff every year, do they become appealing to the SEC or the Big Ten? How long until the Big 12 starts seeing its teams poached by larger conferences in what you called consolidation? Let's go there next on Locked On Big 12, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's show is brought to you by Monopoly Go. Look, I love playing Monopoly. The only problem with Monopoly is you can't always bring it on the go. What you can do is download Monopoly Go on the App Store or Google Play and bring that on the go. We're going to pause the show for just 1 second so I can tell you about what I've been doing with my friends to not just keep up with them, but also to beat them at something. And that is downloading Monopoly Go and playing alongside them. They have unique stickers you can trade with friends to complete albums for big prizes, cool new playing pieces to travel the boards with as well, and hilarious emojis that you can taunt your friends with anytime you heist their vaults or steal their properties. Monopoly Go is a fun way to stay relaxed and laid back with friends that you love dearly. There's always new timed events to help you win big, like massive multipliers for everything you win or rent frenzies. There's something fun to discover right now on Monopoly Go. So get off the bench, go download it for free on Google Play or the App Store. Game on with Monopoly Go. Download it today.